On a foggy winter morning in Japan, a streamer by the name of Tetsu would begin his livestream. But little did his viewers know that they were about to witness the horrifying final moments of his life. This is the tragic story of Tetsu Shiohara. Tetsu Shiohara was a 47-year-old man from Japan. He lived alone in a small house in Tokyo and didn't have many friends. He was employed as a lawyer, and his co-workers described him as a quiet and kind person who had never been seen to get angry or cause issues. Tetsu would often stream on the Japanese live streaming website Nico Nico and went by the name Tetsu. He would usually stream his everyday activities in his regular life, like shopping and eating out, which, of course, didn't gain too much attention, and despite only having a very small following, Tetsu was grateful and would always engage in conversation with the few viewers he had. But after getting diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and told of the short time he would have left to live, Tetsu decided it was time for a drastic change in his lifestyle. He would quit his job as a lawyer and seek to live life a little more adventurously, and his live streams would reflect that. Tetsu started streaming more exciting things like marathons, and one of his favourites was hiking up Mount Fuji. The iconic volcanic mountain of Japan brings in hundreds of thousands of climbers of all ages every year. With its heavily walked pathways, railings, and multiple stations dotted along the way up, it provides a relatively safe mountain to ascend without needing too much gear. After completing the hike multiple times in the summer, Tetsu, with this newfound confidence, decided he would this time try it during the off-season, when conditions would be a lot worse. On the morning of October 26, 2019, at around 8 AM, Tetsu got a lift up to the 5th station, which is the highest point that visitors could get to by car, and for many will be the starting point for the hike up Mount Fuji. Tetsu opened up his livestream and titled it Climbing Mount Fuji, while he laid out in front of him the entirety of his gear for the trek up the mountain. Tetsu would be taking the Fujinamiya route from the 5th station all the way to the summit, which is a 4.9 kilometer hike, and on average takes about 2 to 3 hours to complete. He began the journey up Mount Fuji by first climbing over warning signs that had been placed at the starting point to urge climbers not to ascend the mountain at this time of year. Although it's not illegal and there's no such law in place to stop people from climbing, it's strongly recommended not to do so during the off-season, unless you are an experienced climber with the sufficient gear. Regardless of the warnings, Tetsu pressed on up the mountain. He was making good progress and things were going well. The views were beautiful and Tetsu, along with his viewers, were appreciating the hike. But as Tetsu reached higher up the mountain, the wind became much stronger and the temperatures dropped lower. Tetsu often stated to his viewers that his hands were freezing and that he wished he had brought something to warm them up, and things would only get worse as the snow got thicker and the ground beneath Tetsu's feet got slippier with every step. Tetsu was completely unprepared for the brutal environment he was now in high up on Mount Fuji, only bringing a thin fleece coat, a thin pair of gloves, 2 hiking poles, and probably one of the most important bits of gear that he was lacking for this environment was crampons. Tetsu left for the summit with nothing more than a pair of regular hiking boots, which on the peaks of Fuji during winter would have absolutely no grip. Despite being drastically undergeared, Tetsu, incredibly, would almost reach the summit. After passing the last station on Mount Fuji, Tetsu just had to make the final push up the trail to reach his goal. But the trail was so heavily snowed over that he wasn't even sure if he was going the right way. He told the viewers that the path is turning into a 30-degree slope, and even after slipping several times, he still continued on. But Tetsu's luck would soon run out, and things would take a grim turn. Tetsu lost his footing and completely slipped on the icy mountain at the worst time imaginable, sending him careening down the steep slope of Mount Fuji with absolutely nothing to stop his fall.
めっちゃ合ってるなこれ。なんか外埋まってんだけど雪で。よし行こう。ここも危ないね。ちょっとね斜面。あ、滑る。うわ。
We can only imagine how Tetsu felt during those last few seconds of losing his footing and sliding down the mountain, knowing full well what was coming and being completely unable to stop it. The footage ended either due to a loss of signal or the camera breaking during the fall. One of the viewers did notify the police in the Mount Fuji area, which would lead to a rescue helicopter surveying parts of the mountain, but they were unable to locate Tetsu. 4 days later, a search party was launched on foot to look for Tetsu Shiohara, and on that very same day they would discover Tetsu's body, or at least what was left of it. It was found 2,677 foot down from the summit, meaning Tetsu had slid almost 3,000 foot down the slope of Mount Fuji, a slope that would have been littered with razor-sharp volcanic rocks. His body was damaged so severely that they couldn't even tell the gender, let alone identify the body. But Tetsu had been the only missing person in the area, and the body was found in a location that would match a fall from the summit. So eventually, the body would be identified as the 47-year-old Tetsu Shiohara. When Tetsu's story gained fame on the internet, he was given the Darwin Award. But at the end of the day, this was a human being who'd been pushed to his limits by the cancer he was battling. And in a desperate attempt to live again and feel excited again, this is what he chose to do. From what the entire livestream shows on that day, Tetsu Shiohara was in very good spirits the entire walk up, even stopping multiple times to have a friendly chat with other hikers.
Where are you from anyway?
From Poland.
Poland, I see. I'm from Japan, here. Yeah. Just around here. Tokyo Prefecture. Tokyo. You know Shinjuku? Yeah, I'm from there.
Okay.
Good luck.
Take care.
You too.
Nothing he did indicated that this was intentional, rather just a complete lack of understanding of how dangerous Mount Fuji's conditions are in the winter. Thank you so much for watching, and if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, as I'd really love to reach 1k. Thank you. And until the next true disaster, it's goodbye from me.